The storm is coming. The storm is coming.
In a small village in Africa between rolling hills and vibrant fields, Amina stood out like a beacon of light. With her long, silver hair that sparkled in the sunlight, she captured the attention of everyone who passed by. But it wasn't just her appearance that made her special. Amina possessed a magical gift that set her apart from the other children in the village. She could see visions of the future, moments that would shape the lives of her loved ones and her home. Amina lived with her grandfather, Baba, the wise elder of the village. He had raised her since she was a baby. Amina's story began long before she became known as the girl with the silver hair. She was born in a vibrant village, where laughter and music filled the air. Amina's parents were kind and loving, instilling in her the values of community and compassion. Her mother often sang her to sleep, telling her tales of magic and bravery, while her father taught her about the wonders of nature. Tragically, when Amina was just 5 years old, her life changed forever. A devastating accident struck the village, claiming the lives of her parents. They had gone to help a neighboring village during a fierce storm, but the flooding became too great, and they never returned. The loss shattered Amina's world. She was left with a heavy heart and no one to turn to but her grandfather, Baba. Baba welcomed Amina into his home with open arms. He had always been a pillar of strength and wisdom in the village, and he became Amina's guardian and guide. Though he mourned the loss of his daughter and son-in-law, Baba poured his love into raising Amina, sharing stories of her parents and teaching her the traditions of their people. He encouraged her to embrace her unique silver hair, reminding her that it was a part of her identity. As Amina grew, however, her hair became a source of criticism. The villagers, unfamiliar with the magic of her hair, would whisper and gossip, calling her strange or cursed. Children teased her, saying her hair was too bright, too shiny, and that it set her apart from everyone else. Amina often felt isolated and misunderstood, longing for the acceptance she once had. Despite the challenges, Amina's grandfather remained her biggest supporter. He taught her the importance of resilience and self-acceptance, telling her that her hair was a sign of her unique abilities. "You are special, Amina. Your hair holds the magic of the stars. Embrace it," Baba would say, filling her with courage. It wasn't until one fateful night that Amina truly discovered the power of her hair. During a restless evening, she had her first vision, a glimpse into the future. It came as a flash, showing her the storm that would soon threaten her village. Instead of fear, Amina felt a sense of purpose. As she began to share her visions, the whispers turned into curiosity. Though some still doubted her, others started to see the beauty in her gift. Amina learned to channel the magic of her hair, using it to help her community prepare for challenges ahead. With Baba's encouragement and her newfound confidence, she transformed the criticism into strength. The villagers respected Baba, but many were skeptical of Amina's visions. They often whispered in hushed tones, questioning whether a child could truly see the future. Chief Duro, the strong and proud leader of the village, was one of the most doubtful. He had always relied on strength and tradition to protect his people, not on the fanciful tales spun by a young girl. One evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Amina felt a stirring in her heart. She sat outside her home, combing her silver hair, when a vision struck her like lightning. Dark clouds rolled in, and she could see destruction. The village was in chaos as a massive storm approached. The trees were uprooted, homes were flooded, and villagers ran in fear. Amina gasped and jumped to her feet. She knew she had to act quickly. "Amina, what's wrong?" Baba asked, noticing her sudden change. "A storm is coming, Baba. It will destroy our village if we don't prepare," she exclaimed, her voice filled with urgency. Baba's expression turned serious. He understood the gravity of Amina's words. "We must tell the villagers," he replied, his voice steady. Together, they rushed to the village square, where people gathered to share stories and enjoy the evening. When they reached the square, Amina took a deep breath and spoke up. "Everyone, please listen. A terrible storm is coming. We need to prepare." The villagers looked at her with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "Enough of these wild tales, Amina," Chief Duro said, stepping forward with a dismissive wave. "The sky is clear. We cannot panic over nonsense." Amina felt a pang of disappointment, but Baba stepped beside her, putting a hand on her shoulder. "Please, Chief Duro, trust Amina. She has never led us astray. If she says a storm is coming, we must take her seriously." Some villagers began to murmur, but many still seemed unconvinced. Just then, Amina's best friend, Kimi, stood up. "I believe Amina. We should listen to her. If we prepare, we might avoid disaster." Kimi's support sparked a flicker of hope in Amina's heart. More villagers began to rally behind Amina, and together they started gathering supplies, securing their homes, and helping one another. Amina felt the sense of urgency rise as the wind picked up, carrying with it a chill that sent shivers down her spine. As night fell, Amina's anxiety grew. The storm was closer than she had anticipated. The wind howled through the village, rattling doors and windows. Amina's heart raced as she glanced at the darkening sky. Just when they thought they had prepared enough, a loud crash echoed through the air. A massive tree fell, crashing down just outside a nearby house. Panic spread through the villagers as they realized the storm was indeed real and fierce. "We must stay together," Baba called out, gathering the villagers to ensure no one was left alone. With the storm raging outside, the villagers took refuge in the community hall, a sturdy building in the center of the village. Amina and Baba helped ensure everyone was safe, guiding the frightened children and anxious adults inside. The sound of the storm was deafening, but Amina's heart was filled with hope. They had heeded her warning, and together they were strong. Hours passed, and the storm seemed relentless. Amina felt exhaustion tugging at her, but she stayed vigilant, watching over her friends and family. Suddenly, there was a loud crash outside, and Amina's heart dropped. "What was that?" she gasped. "It's just the storm, Amina. We are safe inside," Baba reassured her, though Amina could sense the worry in his voice. As dawn began to break, the storm finally subsided. The winds quieted, and the heavy rain turned into a gentle drizzle. Amina peeked out through the door, and her heart swelled with relief as she saw the first rays of sunlight breaking through the clouds. They had made it through the night. Once outside, the villagers gathered, surveying the damage. Trees had fallen, and some homes were damaged, but everyone was safe. They looked at Amina with newfound respect and admiration. "Thank you, Amina," Kimi said, her voice full of gratitude. "You saved us all." Chief Duro stepped forward, his expression solemn. "Amina, I was wrong to doubt you. Your gift helped us prepare and survive. From now on, we will trust your visions." The villagers nodded in agreement, surrounding Amina with words of thanks and praise. Amina felt a wave of warmth wash over her. The burden of doubt that had once weighed her down lifted, replaced by a sense of belonging and purpose. She knew she had a responsibility, and with Baba by her side, she vowed to use her gift to protect her village. As the villagers began to rebuild, Amina realized that her silver hair was not just a symbol of her power, but also a reminder of the strength that comes from community and belief in one another. The storm had tested them, but it had also united them. From that point on, Amina became a beacon of hope for the villagers. She embraced her silver hair and her magical gift, realizing that her uniqueness was what made her strong. No longer just a girl with shimmering hair, she was a protector, a visionary, and a beloved member of her community. Through her journey, Amina not only found her purpose but also fostered a sense of unity among the villagers, teaching them the importance of acceptance and belief in one another. Amina sat on the plush couch, her fingers lightly brushing the fabric of her gown. The silver strands of her hair, which had become a symbol of both mystery and power, shimmered in the soft glow of the flickering lantern beside her. Her thoughts swirled like the wind outside the hut, tugging her in different directions. The villagers had always looked to her for guidance. Her hair wasn't just extraordinary, it was magical. The power she could wield with it was something only the elders could fully understand, yet even they had never seen someone like her. But tonight, Amina wasn't thinking about her powers or the future of her village. She was thinking of the decision that lay ahead. She had been chosen by the council to lead the people, a responsibility passed down from generation to generation in her family. But leadership was not what she desired. She yearned for freedom, to see the world beyond the village, to run through the meadows with her best friend Kimi, who had left years ago to follow her own dreams. She sighed deeply, her silver hair flowing down her back like a waterfall of moonlight. The weight of the crown was heavy, even though she had not yet put it on. She glanced toward the window, where the sounds of the night echoed through the village. The moon hung low in the sky, its light filtering through the curtains and casting a pale glow on the room. A knock at the door startled her out of her thoughts. It was Ngozi, the village elder, her face etched with lines of wisdom and time. "Amina," she said softly, stepping into the room. "The council is waiting." Amina stood, her long hair moving as if it had a life of its own. The gown she wore felt suddenly constricting, like a reminder of the expectations she could not escape. "I'm not ready, Ngozi," Amina whispered, her voice betraying her inner turmoil. "I don't know if I can do this." Ngozi walked closer, placing a hand on Amina's shoulder. "The crown was never meant to be easy, child. But you were born with gifts that none of us understand fully. The village needs you, now more than ever." Amina's bright eyes shimmered with emotion, torn between duty and desire. She glanced at the crown that lay on a table near the window, its golden frame embedded with rare stones, a symbol of authority and strength. She had always known this day would come, but it didn't make the choice any easier. "Follow your heart," Ngozi continued, her voice like the wind that danced through the trees outside. "It will guide you where you are meant to go." Amina took a deep breath and nodded. With a final glance at the crown, she knew the choice she would have to make. Amina stood in the village square, her glowing silver hair catching the first rays of the morning sun. The villagers gathered around, waiting for the announcement they knew was coming. Some whispered among themselves, unsure of what Amina would decide. With every step she took, her heart pounded louder in her chest. Her bare feet touched the cool earth, grounding her as she made her way to the platform where the elders waited. Ngozi stood at the front, her face unreadable but supportive. Amina felt the eyes of the village on her, but her mind was elsewhere, on the open plains beyond the village, the adventures that awaited her. She knew that once she accepted the crown, there would be no going back. As she reached the platform, her silver hair swirling gently in the morning breeze, she looked out at the faces before her. Some filled with hope, others with fear, all waiting for her to speak. "I have always been a part of this village," Amina began, her voice clear and strong despite the nerves that gnawed at her. "And I have always known that one day, I would be called upon to lead." There was a murmur in the crowd as she paused. "But I am also more than this village. I am a woman with dreams and desires that go beyond the borders of our home. I wish to see the world, to experience all it has to offer." A stunned silence fell over the crowd. No one had expected her to say these words. "I do not reject the responsibility that has been placed upon me," Amina continued, "but I must follow my heart. And my heart tells me that my journey is not meant to begin here. Not yet." Ngozi watched her closely, a small smile playing on her lips. "I will return," Amina said, her voice filled with conviction. "But first, I must see the world beyond these walls. I must find myself before I can truly serve you." The crowd was still as Amina stepped down from the platform, her decision made. She walked past the villagers, her silver hair flowing behind her like a beacon of light. Some looked at her in awe, others in shock, but none dared to stop her. As Amina reached the edge of the village, she looked back one last time. The place she had called home for so long seemed both familiar and foreign, a part of her past but not her future. With a deep breath, she turned and walked into the unknown, the sunlight reflecting off her silver hair like a guiding star. The journey had only just begun.